Hello everybody, PBM or Polar Bear Michael here, whatever you want to call me. Gonna go over the 4.2 patch notes for SMITE. Got a new god here, we'll go over that very last, and as well as giving you guys some updates on the YouTube channel, stream, Twitter, Season 4, all that good stuff. I'll have that at the end of the video, and I'll timestamp that somewhere. So first, let's get into the patch notes. Just some new skins, simple stuff like that. The AMC skin is actually really cool. It's probably my favorite one of the patch. Definitely go check some of those out when you guys get a chance. So first stuff, miscellaneous updated lobby description, blah blah blah. You know, this is pretty much just fixes or whatever. So map changes for Clash. You're going to see basically all this text right here just says that they wanted to stop snowballing Clash. Games were ending too quickly, players didn't like it, so increased the health of Apophis and the amount of health he gains per minute, makes him a little bit harder to do. The mana buff doesn't really give you as much, and the damage buff doesn't spawn as often. You know, simple stuff like that. Anyways, who really cares? We're all about conquest here. Item changes, so the crit tree got, it was mainly the shuriken tree, just got nerfed super hard. So going into Season 4, they put base attack speed on both Wind Demon and Poison Star, and this tree was by far the best items you could get for crit. People weren't even going Deathbringer. The hunter builds you were seeing were Devo gauntlets into boots, and sometimes you just wouldn't even get executioner. You could just rush crit. You could go, you know, Poison Star into Wind Demon or vice versa, and you had a ton of attack speed, and you had crit, and you had all this utility that the Wind Demon gave you, increasing your attack speed and all that, and you also had the Poison Star proc, slowing people, reducing their damage, all that good stuff. So basically, the tree was just overtuned. It was too strong, so they hit it pretty hard here. The tier 2 is more expensive, so this is actually, if you were to compare the 8-pointed shuriken to, is it called Hidden Dagger? Whatever the tier 2 of like the Deathbringer tree is. It used to have the same cost. It'll now cost more to build into the tier 2 of the shuriken tree, so your power spike is a little weaker. As well as Wind Demon just flat out costs 200 more gold. Pretty big nerf to this. This makes it kind of a luxury crit item, so you're going to consider when you're looking for your late game crit item to finish out your builds, you're going to be looking at Wind Demon and Deathbringer rather than this being kind of a mid game item. And Poison Star is more solidified into that mid game item as well, going to 2400 gold and also reducing the power from 30 to 20. Pretty big nerf on Poison Star. I like the Poison Star one though because this item has a lot of utility with the basically Frostbound Hammer effect whenever you crit, as well as the damage reduction. I believe both of those are still on it. To be honest, I don't play Hunters, so I'm not sure the exact numbers on those or if they've tweaked anything. But yeah, I think these are overall good changes. Obviously, this hurts Hunters a lot, but I still think you'll definitely still see Poison Star built. I'm not sure about Wind Demon. You most likely will, but hey, it's just going to take Hunters a little longer to turn online, but they're late game carries for a reason. God changes, actually nothing too crazy with Afro. She was always giving 70% of her mana to her linked partner, or whatever you would like to phrase that as, except the tooltip said 30, so now the tooltip correctly says 70. No actual change, just updated tooltip. Chiron, so this is a pretty big one. Chiron really hasn't been good since, probably late Season 2, and then after Season 2 SWC, they nerfed him a lot, and he really wasn't seen play throughout all of Season 3. I know Ataraxia messed with him a little bit on Obey during their group stages, but yeah, you really didn't see this god much at all in Season 3, so attempting to buff him here, they've tweaked with him a lot in the past, and maybe this will be the one that actually makes Chiron come back into the meta, so first is Giddy Up. This is his dash. He now receives a physical power buff from 10 to 50 power depending on the rank for the duration of the charge. So this means a couple things. This means one, hitting people with his dash. So if he dashes through an enemy, will actually do a lot more damage now because he's getting a physical power buff. So this means His clear will be a little bit better if you choose to dash for clear. That's probably not the most practical application. The most practical one is if you're chasing an enemy down and you choose to use your dash aggressively to chase a kill. Since you can auto attack in your dash, Chiron's very unique with that. It's the only character with a long dash like that, kind of like a Vamana style dash. He can actually auto attack from range while using that, so it rewards him a lot more for chasing down kills aggressively with his dash. And then, if you do choose that style of play to take advantage of this physical power buff, you might have to ult to get yourself out of trouble, and they increase the damage of your ult, so it'll be easier. This means a couple things. One, the obvious, he does more damage. Just in general, can follow up better from range, can snipe down targets as they're running away. Obviously, just a huge help to him, especially early game. You got to remember he fires 3 shots here, so 100 to 130. This is actually a 90 damage level 1 buff. So, I mean his ult at rank 1 does 390 damage. So as soon as he hits level 5, if he hits all 3 shots off of like any setup, it's nearly 400 damage early. That is huge. That is like, to put that into perspective, Freya's ult has like one of the highest, even after the nerf, has some of the highest base damage at level 5 in the game. And if you hit all 4 of her shots, it does 400 damage, and Chiron's only 10 under that, and you only have to hit 3 shots, and it's in a much bigger area. It's a huge line. So, definitely a huge change. It also helps him get a kill in his ult, which will revive him. So, I definitely expect to see Chiron tried out by some of the Hunter players. Cronus, so I'm not going to go through all this text. You guys can read on your own as I'm talking about the changes if you would like. But basically, Cronus, without his Fatalis effect on his 2 that they removed at the start of Season 4, felt really bad. So they don't want to give that effect back, but they are going to compensate a little bit, which means Wheel of Time, increased magical power of Section 3. This is the section where your abilities gain bonus magical power. That's going to go from 20 to 25. I guess I didn't have to say that. It says right here, right? But anyways, that's going to go from 20 to 25%. Pretty big buff on that. So, and you also get increase the basic attack power of the Section 4 buff from 35 to 45 seconds. So basically what this says is we're taking away the utility from him, but now you're going to get rewarded with more damage if you use this. So for example, this 5% increase will promote you to build him more like a mage. And then if you are building him like a mage, your basic attacks will start chunking insanely hard if you choose to use Section 4, which is the auto attack power. And I mean, yeah, basically you just build more power on your Cronus. You won't have the Fatalis effect, but if you can get set up and you can get some auto attacks in, you're going to chunk really, really hard with Cronus. He's going to do a ton of damage. He already had one of, if not the highest late game damage potential of any mage in the game, really any character in the game, and without his Fatalis, these changes should help him a good bit. They also helped us accelerate his 2. This was what had the Fatalis taken away from it. Yeah, this is his passive. So then his 2, which you use to activate the passive, you just get more movement speed. You're faster, so you don't have the Fatalis effect, but you hit harder, you move faster. No Fatalis effect for you swinging, but if you play him more like a mage, maybe you don't care about that. You can build him that style. It possibly could be good. And stop time, just get some bonus increased damage. This is actually the most underrated of all of these changes, and the reason why is because he now does, if you hit all 6 creeps in a wave, he does 120 more damage to a wave total at level 2. So, this ticks twice, right? So 10 extra damage is actually 20 overall on this ability. Then 20 damage on all 6 creeps is 120 extra damage, which means he'll clear like 3 or 4 auto attacks quicker than he normally would. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but that's definitely really good quality of life. That could help him in mid lane a lot. Could help him clear jungle buffs a lot quicker. So not the biggest change, kind of just like a minor tweak, but it helps his early game a lot. So definitely worth looking at Cronus again. Nike, so this god has been just really strong. She's basically a passive bot. They tweak the numbers on her movement speed from her passive by 1% each, and the bonus power by 2% on all ranks. So just nerfing her passive. Overall, it's a very, very strong passive, so just reducing the strength of that. And then Rend, this is her main damage spell. Reduce the cooldown of that from 12 to 14 seconds. Nike is, in theory, a really strong kit. Her ult is insanely good. She's pretty hard to kill. But with them, or not with them, with Hyra's choosing to nerf a lot of her utility like this, which is what makes the god so strong. I'm not saying it's a bad nerf, but with that direction, you might see Nike get to a point where she's kind of been gutted down too much to really be that great. I don't know if this will affect her in competitive, but I mean, she's obviously worse, right? Like, she gets this is like the second or third patch in a row that Nike has been nerfed, so definitely a lot worse. Definitely worth keeping an eye on her still, though, because she's just such a strong god. Her kit is just so strong that this may not kill her, but no more annoying Nike in your casuals and all that stuff. Scotty, so this change is pretty crazy. Scotty now will retain her speed buff for 3 seconds after leaving permafrost. This is her 3 that she places on the ground, so if she walks on it for just like a second and then walks off of it, she keeps that speed buff for herself for 3 seconds. So this allows Scotty to kite way better. It massively helps her her mobility and her utility. You might see Scotty in competitive now. It'll be very interesting. I'm excited to play with these changes. Even I've been playing competitive for like 2 years now, or a little bit over that, and I don't think throughout season 3 any team was really seriously like practicing Scotty a ton. So I'm pretty excited to maybe get a chance to play against this god and see what she could do. Could be fun. It's always fun to like shake up the gods that you're playing against. Sylvanas, decrease base magical power from 38 to 35. This basically means your auto attacks will hit for 3 less. Sylvanas is still insanely good. He still has the best push of any Guardian, maybe any character in the entire game. Certainly for Guardians, he has the best wave push of any character. And he'll still be really strong. The prot shred on his 1 is absolutely nuts. You should be looking to max your Sylvanas 1 instead of your heal now, in my opinion, or at least most games. Yeah, I mean, just super insane god. Still, very good if you are comfortable on him and can play him well. So this didn't really change much. Tweaked him a little bit, but he'll need a lot heavier nerfs to lose his spot as the best lane pressure god in the game for Conquest. Tier. So, I can probably simplify this a little bit for people who didn't play Tier. The way Tier worked was his 3 would basically heal 4 different applications of the heal. So, for example, if you hit one enemy, so you only hit like an enemy god, for example, you would get a separate heal for hitting somebody with your 2, and then on top of that you would get the heal for hitting a target. So if you hit one target, you would get 2 ticks of the heal, and this was meant to make him burst heal a little bit better in fights. So now that is now removed. So when you're boxing Tier 1-1-1 in lane, if there aren't creeps around, he won't be able to sustain as well just off of hitting you alone. And now it caps at 3 heals, so if he hits all of the archers, for example, in a wave, instead of healing for 4 ticks of his heal, he will only heal for 3 ticks of his heal. So pretty big sustain nerf to Tier. He's definitely a little bit weaker now as a result of this change. Still probably a pretty strong god. I don't really buy into everybody saying Tier is really OP. There are items in the game such as Stone of Gaia, such as Spectral Armor, such as Magi's, that do very well at countering what he tries to do in team fights if you can manage to go into the fights with those procs up or with those item passives up. So a little bit of a knock on Tier. Drops a little bit in power level and a little bit in boxing potential in lane, but still a pretty strong god. Xing 10, Furious Roar, this is basically bug fixes, so for those of you who don't know, there have been videos out on Xing 10 from his release, his tooltips and his ability targeters and all the like numbers were just so buggy from the start, and they were inconsistent, and these have now been adjusted. So for example, the rank 5 of this ability, only rank 5 was dealing 4% of the target's maximum health instead of 3, so that's a slight nerf actually when fixing it. The Sky Cutting Axe was actually dealing 5 less damage than it should have at rank 2, and only rank 2, which is why you see these fixes are really weird, because rank by rank his abilities were just incorrect. Could have provided more protection than intended, so that's another bug. Fix a description error, another bug. Fix an issue where rank 3, only rank 3 of this ability would grab targets longer than intended, so he has a ton of stuff like this. He actually, to my knowledge, he actually has more of these rank dependent bugs in his kit on his knockup specifically. Uh, but still a really good job for Hi-Rez to clean this stuff up and to sort that out. So Shing 10 is a lot less buggy now, which is nice. And that is the end of the existing changes. And now we go on to the new god, which is, of course, the King Kappa. Kuzinbo, I believe, is his name. If you guys have not seen the actual patch notes, I highly recommend that after this video you go watch them and you see the god release. This video has hilarious voice lines and sound effects. Really cool god, but for now we'll only go over his actual abilities, what he does. So first, he's a Japanese Guardian. His passive, Water Bolt, each time Kuzenbo takes 2% of his maximum health worth of damage pre-mitigation. So this means, say, Poseidon hits you with his 1, right? And his 1 does 400 damage. Your passive is going to treat it as if that did 400 damage to you. And then you're going to mitigate the damage. So you're going to take, say you take like 200 damage, even if you only take half of the damage the Poseidon dealt to you, you're going to gain your passive worth of all of the damage that he would have dealt to you on his base damage. So that makes this really strong in general, the way it functions. Then, going on, he is granted a stack, so 1 stack of 1.5% damage reduction as the bowl of water atop his head fills, maximum of 10 stacks, so he has a max of 15% damage reduction, flat damage reduction. That is, for himself, is what he gets if he gets this whole thing stacked. So basically he takes 20% of his max health pre-mitigation. He gains 15% damage reduction. This is an insanely strong passive for Kuzinbo to just be selfishly tanky. That is as much damage mitigation as old Season 3 Shell gave, and that got nerfed by 5% even after the upgrade in Season 4 to 10%. So the fact that his passive is stronger than Season 2 or Season 4 Shell upgrade is pretty nuts. Stacks last 10 seconds and are refreshed each time he gains another. However, the whole caveat, or I think that's how you say it, to this passive is that if he gets knocked up, knocked back, grabbed, pulled, banished, or otherwise disrupted, the bowl loses half of its stack until it begins to fill again. So say, say Hebo 1s you, right? A Hebo water cannons you. You're going to go ahead and take, say Hebo water cannons you, and you get your full passive, all 10 stacks, just off that one damn thing. And then he knocks you up, you're going to go down to 5 stacks, even though you took a lot of damage, or that seems like how it should work. And then the reduction lost when disrupted, so when you get CC'd, you lose 5% of that damage reduction instantly, and you lose the stack, so. Really cool passive, really strong, makes him super tanky. Nene Kappa, Kuzenbo summons and throws a powerful Nene Kappa, who can ricochet off of walls, so this is just like Hoyi Ricochet, but for Guardian. And what this does is it does damage, and then if it hits a god or at the end of the travel time, it will summon a little Kappa, so a little Kuzenbo guy, and he will fight for you and do auto attack damage, and this is his damage per hit. So Ricochet on Guardian should be pretty good jungle clear. I don't know if it's enough to make him a good jungler, but good jungle clear helps him clear a lot with little Nene Kappa as well. Super cool ability, fun skill shot to use. Shell spikes. The spikes on Kuzenbo's shells extend out, reflecting a percentage of the damage enemies deal to Kuzenbo back at them while active each time Kuzenbo takes damage. The cooldown on Nene Kappa, so his ricochet thing, is reduced, and then you see the cost and the cooldowns here. So this item is super strong. It's basically like a nemesis shield that doesn't heal you, it'll reflect damage. And of course you have scaling cooldown as you upgrade it. And then the cooldown reduction per hit also goes up, so each time you reflect damage in this, you are reducing the cooldown on your Nene Kappa, which is pretty cool, and it lasts for 3 seconds. Unlike the Nemesis shield, there is no cap to the amount of damage that you take before this reflection stops, so For example, say you get all the alties on you, the stereotypical support guys, they used all the alties on me. If you had your shell spikes active for that, at max rank you are reflecting 40% of all the damage you took during, even if you get like Krakened and Vulcan alted or whatever hits you Thoth alted, you can reflect 40% of that back to them and do a ton of damage. So really strong ability. Potentially at least. Sumo Slam. Kuzenbo charges forward, immune to slows and roots, damaging enemy minions and using his immense strength to push the first enemy god he hits along with him. Each subsequent god he hits deals damage to both that god and the god Kuzenbo is pushing. Colliding with a wall will also deal damage to the push god. So the way this works is, imagine a Vamana dash that when you hit a god, you kind of like grab hold of them, kind of like a Kepri pull, but instead of pulling them with the Kepri, you push them at the same speed of the dash, and then if you slam them into a wall or into another enemy god, they deal the same damage from when they were initially hit, and they get that dealt to them again. So, a really good displacement ability. You can peel super hard with this and push enemies super far away. Really cool ability. And then Watery Grave. Kuzenbo pulls himself inwards under his shell and spins, summoning fierce currents that knock enemies back, increasing his movement speed and allow him to move freely in all directions. Damage after the first spin is reduced by 50%. Cost 100, cooldown 100. These don't scale down as you ranked up, worth noting. Damage from the first hit, 60 to 220 plus 40%. Damage from any hit after that, pretty much completely halved in both the actual damage and the scaling. And the movement speed increases 35%. So this ability is basically Sobek 2. It's a Sobek 2 that gives you movement speed, is CC immune, and can knock them back multiple times, like 3-4 times maybe. Definitely 2 or 3, I don't know about the 4th, but you can knock them back extremely far and displace a ton of enemies with this. So, for example, say you go into a team fight and you ult and you knock everybody all over the place. You isolate one single target and then you push them into your entire team. You can peel extremely hard with this god. My overall thoughts on the god: his ult is very good. His 2 is potentially very good as well. His passive is great, so he's very tanky for himself. He has pretty good mobility with his 3. This god's viability will be dependent on a couple things. One is his Anacapa, his first ability. Is it good early game? Is it good clear? If so, then he'll probably see play off that alone. He does have potential to clear jungle camps extremely quickly with this ricochet ability. He also is extremely tanky for himself, so for example, he might be good in solo lane because you can get really beefy, get really big, reflect a ton of damage to people, be extremely annoying, throw people all over the place. I could definitely see him working in solo lane. And then for support, he has insane peel. He can knock people all... You could like stand on top of your ADC and your mage and throw people all around, stop them from diving, stop melee characters from attacking your carries, and then yeah, you can just like push people around. So really interesting kit, really fun god design, and you definitely should go take the opportunity to check out the live patch notes show. Check their VOD on Hi-Res TV. This god is really, really cool. I think he's a great addition to the Guardian class, and I can't wait to play him. That is the end of patch 4.2, and now I'll just give you guys some, quick channel updates, stuff like that. So I'm planning to interact with my YouTube a lot more in Season 4. I want to use it a lot more. I would like to upload more videos, so I'm going to have every couple weeks whenever they release these patches, I'm going to do a patch notes review. I'm not sure why that's there. I'm going to do a patch notes review. I'm also going to upload ranked gameplay and commentaries from my stream or from wherever else. I can upload guides. I'm actually looking at tomorrow. I'm going to upload a build guide. I had this done for a couple days, but due to some technical complications, I wasn't able to upload it onto YouTube, so I'm sorry that has been so delayed. But tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, as in tomorrow being Thursday or Friday, I should have that build guide out for everybody, and then yeah, I'll upload some of my qualifiers from ranked, some season 4 ranked game, give you my thoughts on competitive. I might even do SPL picks, that type of thing. I'm not sure on that because that's a little iffy. I don't really want to like offend people or put myself out there like that too much, and give my. It's a tricky line to cross with that type of stuff, but whole point, I'm looking to put out more content, upload more stuff to YouTube, and interact with all of you guys more. So if you do click that subscribe button for my YouTube, it would be very much appreciated. I'm going to work really hard to upload some quality content for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. And then, as you can see on the screen, follow my Twitch and my Twitter links. You'll know when I'm streaming, when I upload videos, what I think of, different changes around the game, stuff like that. And, when I stream, I try to interact with everybody as much as I can, try to give people tips, answer questions, talk about how I'm playing the support role and what I think, all that type of stuff. And of course, when Kuzinbo comes out, I plan on playing him a ton. And I'll most likely stream PTS in the coming days, so go ahead and make sure to follow my Twitch. And yeah, that's it. Full sellout mode, follow everything, subscribe to YouTube, all that good stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.